Take a moment and look at the fork in your hand. Not your phone, not your screen, the real fork. Most likely, it has 4 tines. Not 3. Not 5. 4. And here's the interesting part, you've probably used forks your whole life without ever stopping to ask why that number became the norm. Spoons come in different sizes. Knives come in all kinds of shapes. But forks? Almost always 4 tines. So why is that? It might seem simple, but that design comes from hundreds of years of trial and error, changing tastes, small design fixes, and even a bit of social tension. The fork didn't just show up one day the way it is now. It slowly changed over time. And that number, 4, wasn't chosen by chance. Let's dive into it, right here on *ordinary star. Before forks became common, people mostly ate with their hands, along with knives and spoons. In medieval Europe, knives were something you carried with you. They were personal tools. You used them to cut food, stab pieces of meat, and sometimes even lift food straight to your mouth. Was it elegant? Not really. Was it practical? Definitely. Forks did exist back then, but they were rare and usually had just 2 tines. Early versions showed up in the Byzantine Empire and later in parts of Italy. When forks started spreading across Europe around the 11th century, people didn't welcome them right away. In fact, they caused a lot of debate. Some religious leaders at the time believed forks were an unnecessary luxury. When a Byzantine princess brought forks to Venice in the 11th century, some clergy saw them as too fancy, even disrespectful to the way God designed human hands. It may sound a bit extreme today, but back then, table manners were closely tied to ideas about morality and social status. At that point in time, forks usually had just 2 tines. They were mainly used to hold food in place while cutting, not for scooping or twirling. The fork was still in its early stages. 2 tines worked well for picking up solid foods, like chunks of meat. But beyond that, they weren't very useful. Think about trying to eat peas, or rice, or even pasta with a 2-tined fork. The smaller pieces would just slip right through. And softer foods? They would fall apart before you could even lift them. It just didn't work very well. As food started to change, especially in places like Italy and later France, meals became more delicate and varied. People needed utensils that could handle these new kinds of dishes. Take pasta, for example. It became very popular in Italy. But trying to twirl spaghetti with only 2 tines? Not easy. So, people began to experiment with new designs. During the Renaissance, forks with 3 tines started to appear. That extra tine made a real difference. Food was easier to hold, and twirling pasta became much simpler. But even then, it wasn't perfect. 3 tines helped, but they created a small balance issue. When you press a fork into food, you're applying downward pressure. With 3 tines, the pressure isn't spread evenly. You have 1 tine in the center, and the other 2 on each side. It works, but it's not fully balanced. Now compare that to 4 tines. With 4, you get a more even structure. 2 on each side. Balanced, steady, and stronger overall. This isn't just about how it looks. It actually changes how the fork feels in your hand, and how smoothly it goes into your food. A fork with 4 tines slides in more evenly. It grips food better. And just as important, it creates a slight scoop shape between the tines. That small detail helps a lot with foods like mashed potatoes, salad, or pasta. So the fork doesn't just stab food, it can also scoop it. That dual purpose is what really makes the difference. By the 17th and 18th centuries, 4-tine forks had taken over dining tables across Europe, especially in France. In Italy, as dining habits became more refined, utensils became more specialized. The fork went from being a fancy luxury item to something people used every single day. And 4 tines turned out to be the perfect balance between function and practicality. It holds food better than 2 or 3 tines. It's not too wide or bulky. It's strong enough without bending easily. It's simple to make. And it feels comfortable when you eat. And that last part matters more than you might expect. If a fork had 5 or more tines, it would have to be wider. Sure, it might hold more food, but it would also feel awkward in your mouth. There's a natural limit to what feels comfortable when you take a bite. And 4 tines fit that space just right. It's a small design detail, but a very important one. Now, yes, there are some exceptions. Salad forks can have 3 or 4 tines, sometimes with one wider edge to help cut lettuce. Dessert forks are usually smaller. Seafood forks can be thinner or shaped differently. But when it comes to the standard dinner fork, it's almost always 4 tines. In some places, especially with older European styles, you might still see 3-tined forks. But overall, 4 has clearly become the standard. But across the world, 4 tines clearly win. It's the quiet result of hundreds of years of design trying to get it just right. There's also a psychological side to this. Once something becomes standard, people get used to it. Kids grow up using 4-tined forks. Table setups everywhere are designed around that same shape and size. Even your cutlery tray at home is made to fit it. Now imagine someone hands you a 5-tined fork. You'd notice it right away. It would feel a little strange, even if it worked perfectly fine. That's because people are strongly influenced by what they're used to. When something becomes part of everyday life, changing it can feel unnecessary, even uncomfortable. The fork isn't just a simple tool anymore. It's part of daily routine and culture. So next time you sit down to eat, take a second before your first bite. Look at your fork. 4 tines. Not just because of tradition. Not by accident. But because over time, that number proved to be the most balanced, practical, and efficient way for us to eat. It's a small reminder, even the simplest things around us have a story. A story shaped by culture, design, habit, and human choice. Thanks for watching. If you have ideas for our next video, drop them in the comments below, we'd love to hear from you. And thanks for being part of this journey through ordinary. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around for more stories hidden in the smallest details. Until then, we'll see you in the next video. Take care.